Hey guys, this is Hey Coach Ryan, episode 8. I'm Coach Ryan Knapp, and we're going to jump right into today's question from Chris Harris, which says, I've got a 10K trail race coming up this weekend. Since I've mostly done road races, what's your advice about how to approach racing the trail differently versus the road? Mentally, should I approach this race differently, knowing that my 10K pace on the trail and my 10K pace on the road is going to be different? And any other tips or suggestions. So the other tips or suggestions came in the Miles to Go Endurance group where Chris asked this question, where you got a lot of good advice on making sure that, and I'll reiterate some of them here. When you line up for the race and you're ready to go, line up a little bit further in front of the group or the people that you think you might be running with. And the reason is it's easier to drop back a little bit than it is to have to pass a large group of people. You don't want to get stuck behind too many people, especially if the trail single tracks right away. Everyone kind of says ready, go, and then jumps into the trail. And if you end up way behind the conga line, then you have to pass and pass and pass. And as we'll look at in terms of effort, you don't want to be spiking your effort or spiking your heart rate as you go. So line up a little bit in front of where you think, and then if you need to drop back or surge forward, it's a little bit easier. And it's just a guess. I mean, you're guessing looking at 100 people or 200 people, whatever, and guessing like where you need to fall in. So the best guess that you can have in that case, the better. Then you're not wasting any energy. The second is, and just looking at, courtesy on the trail. So if someone's behind you, usually, and looks like and feels like they're coming up behind you and they want to pass. Usually I just say, hey, let me know if you want to pass. I don't just jump off to the side of the trail or anything. If they want to pass, they'll let me know or find a space that they can do it. Try to pass people on the left. Let people know if you're passing them on the left. Let people know if you want to go past them. You can kind of say, hey, I'm going to pass on the left, and be able to do it. Pretty simple. And make sure to pick up your feet, especially toward the end of the race when you might be feeling tired, because that's when you catch a rock or a root. You don't want to do that. And you might be able to jump over the big rocks and roots, and then you might trip on a pebble that's that big, as Catherine said. And then you're allowed to swear and curse as much as you want. But let's look at it from a simple coaching side, which is what you said about pace. And it's dead on, and it's a really simple explanation and a really simple visual that we can look at. So essentially you look over, the x-axis is time. This is increasing, so this is essentially your heart rate, so that means your heart rate's higher. This is your pace, so that means your pace is higher or your pace is lower. In a normal road 10K, your graph at the end in Training Peaks looks similar to this. You have a very steady heart rate, which is right around your lactate threshold. And then you have a steady pace graph, which then at the end of the race, when you kick, your heart rate goes up and your pace goes up. This is if you run the race that you're trained for, this is what it should look like. Sure, there might be some little bumps and things in the pace and in the heart rate, but this is an ideal way of what it looks. On the trail, it's going to look a little bit different. Okay? If I take the pace line off on the trail, regardless of what this line is, this is what I want your effort line to still look like. And if you continue to have this effort line or this heart rate line look like this, you're going to have the best race that you possibly can and the best race that you're trained for. Because you're going to keep your effort right around lactate threshold, a little bit higher in the end. But no matter what this thing ends up doing, you're going to keep this effort there. And if that means you have to run at a 10-minute mile when you're going up a massive hill, or you end up catching a 6-minute mile or a 5-minute mile on an awesome downhill, you end up keeping that effort sustained. And if you keep that effort sustained, all things considered, you're going to have the best race that you can. And the basic advice, that you can give after that is just run until you puke, which is what I told Maartje I would give you. And she said, just tell Chris that. So if you do this, this is going to be a hard effort, and you might feel like you're going to puke at the end. But what's going to happen is that the course gives you what it is, and you're just going to have the best race that you can. So keep that effort and keep that heart rate as flat as you can. When you get to the end of the race, kick it in, and you're going to be good to go. And that mentally will take a check, because you're going to be looking at, I'm used to running, 6:10 or 6 minutes or whatever for my 10K pace, and now I'm running like 6:30, and now I'm running 8 minutes, and now I'm running 5. So your pace is going to be off. So mentally, you just need to tell yourself, you don't have to have any expectations for that race, because each trail race is very different. So based on how many hills there are, and based on how much elevation there is, if it's a really, if there's some steeper hills or whatever, your pace and your final time is just going to be what it is. But if you put out an effort that looks like that, then this is going to be exactly what it should be. Okay, man. So that's the basic thing. Run until you puke. Follow that. Follow your effort level. Make sure you're just taking care on the trails and letting people know when you want to pass and stuff, and you're going to have a great race. So if you have anything to follow up with, make sure to let me know. If you have any other questions, make sure to use the hashtag HeyCoachRyan and I'll answer them. It's really easy for me to click on it and get all the questions. I got a bunch lined up already. And I really love doing these, so keep the questions coming and I will be back tomorrow with episode 9. So good luck at your race, Chris, and thanks again for the question.